Remember the Beatles song, A Little Help from My Friends? Well, here to give advice in complex returns on tax returns, especially for Gen Z tax filers on how to tackle their taxes, including advice on crypto and other investments, sports betting, and side gigs, with a little help from, of course, Jackson Hewitt. Mark Steber is Chief Tax Officer. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. Very exciting time for all Americans to go get some of that money.
You got that right. So why can tax time be stressful for Gen Z and younger filers? And how can they take steps to prepare their tax return?
Yeah, it's been growing for some years now. The Gen Z filers, just a lot different than the older filers. They have a lot more complexity with their tax returns, a lot more income streams. They may have one or more jobs. They certainly are in the side hustle business. They're investing into cryptocurrency, online gaming, and the list goes on and on. So they're not just like the older filers with one or maybe double income household and not much else. They've got a lot of activity going on, and I won't even go into life changes. They're certainly disproportionate on changing jobs, moving to a new state, starting new activities, ending old activities. And all that can lead to tax consequences, and as complicated laws are, that can lead to a little bit of concern and confusion and overwhelmingness. But the good news is there's help out there, people like me at Jackson Hewitt, and if they take a little bit of time to get a little more organized, they can solve some of their own stress and get a better tax result outcome, quite honestly.
Now, hopefully they can. Now, not only is March Madness coming up, but there is more and more interest in sports betting. How does that impact tax returns?
Well, it impacts it in a couple of ways, and it's not much different than it was back in 1913 when the law was passed. If you have income from betting, that's taxable. It's just that simple. And the worst part of it is you don't get to net your wins and your losses. That's not how the law works. Now, what's changed in the last few years is the proliferation of these online gaming apps, and I have one on mine. Many states allow it. It can be a lot of fun if you do it properly. The problem is they're keeping a record of that now. It's not just you and your guy in your office. So if you have a certain amount of winnings, they're going to report it both to you with a W-2G and to the IRS. So if you get one of those, you can no longer ignore it and say, well, I had losses to offset it. That's not how the rule works. So if you're a big bettor and more importantly, a big winner, you want to make sure you talk with a tax pro because you don't want to mishandle that, leave it off and get a question from the IRS, or more importantly, put something on there that shouldn't be on there. So betting's big, winning is big, and you want to do it right to be sure.
You definitely want to do it right. You definitely want to win. So how do investments in traditional stocks and cryptocurrency impact tax returns?
Well, the good news is, much like gambling or sports betting, if you've had a good day in the investment, whether it be crypto or stocks or investments, you probably are happy. Well, if you're happy, that probably means you had income, which means you also, again, probably have a tax transaction that needs looking at. Now, that doesn't mean all your income that you had from a crypto gain or a stock sale is taxable, but it does mean you have something to look at. Now, you need to get your basis right, and if you have losses, you want to make sure you deduct those and offset them properly. So all I would simply say is, much like we started, those Gen Z people, they're investing in more diverse activities. They're having gains and losses all over the place. You want to manage that correctly and report only the income, and by that I mean the net taxable income that you have to. And to do that, you need to understand the rules. You can learn them yourself, or you can get a tax pro to help you navigate that. But just don't plunk that stuff down on your tax return as income, and it might not all be, and don't leave it off because the IRS might find out and be asking you some questions. You want to do that right as well.
Now, you don't want the IRS asking any questions. Mark, what should we know? What should people know about paying taxes when they're working a side gig or hustle?
Well, the side gig hustle rules are some of the most complex, but that's where some of the gems and valuable benefits are. So I'll simply say this. In the olden days, people said, I had a side hustle. I'm not going to report that. Nobody will need to know it's a hobby or it's small. That's simply not true. First, that's not the law. If you have income, it needs to be reported. But secondly, they sell themselves short. You want to report that on your tax return, and you want to take all the deductions you can, because sooner or later, some banker is going to say, show me your income stream if you want to borrow or you want to leverage that. The more activity you have, even if you start out slow with a loss, that's understandable. And in fact, that loss may be tax deductible against your regular income, giving you even more money to supersize your side hustle. So I'll simply say this, side hustles are common, 50 million people doing it now since the pandemic. The rules are complicated, but you don't need to go alone. A pro can help you get all your deductions, your credits, your benefits, your elections, minimize your income, and help you get that business into a bigger business or even more businesses. But doing it by yourself, doing it quick, doing it on your smartphone, person, not a best practice for a business person, and certainly not going to pay dividends on your tax refund or your stress. So get some help with that side hustle. It will pay for itself over time.
Now, speaking of help, where can we go to learn more?
Well, our website, jacksonhewitt.com, there's a host of tools, videos, frequently asked questions, calculators on how to estimate things. But most importantly, you can put your zip code in there and up will pop the offices near you. You can click on one, make an appointment at your convenience and walk right in then, or walk right in now. We're staffed, we're open with extra hours, extra people. It's in game for tax season, so we're excited to help people. And if your pro's not excited to help you, then you probably got the wrong tax pro. So come see us at Jackson Hewitt. It's tax time. Go get your money.
Like I said, the Beatles came out with that song. A little help from my friend Mark Steber, Jackson Hewitt's Chief Tax Officer. Thank you again. We thank you for joining us on Morning Blend. We need the help. Trust me. A lot of gigs, a lot of side hustles out there.
Go get your money. It will not happen automatically.
I like that. Go get your money. Thanks, Mark.